Hello, everyone, and welcome to today's episode or this new episode on the Codecast. Once again, every episode on the Codecast is special. Today we have Samson Amaugo, who has recently landed a software engineering internship from Nigeria with none other than Microsoft. I would like to welcome Samson to the stage to introduce himself. Over to you, Samson.
Oh, thanks for having me. My name is Samson Amaugo. I'm an electrical electronics student at the University of Owerri, Federal University of Technology, Owerri. And I'm also passionate about software engineering, writing codes and producing apps, trying to automate stuff. So this is a brief introduction anyway.
Yeah, and that's perfect. How do we draw the connection between going from Pluto to Microsoft? Do they have recruiters who come to the university, or do you on your own know people who already work there, and did you get a referral, or did you just apply online? How did you land this internship?
Okay. So mine is not actually the generic way where you work on stuff, put in the hard work and then you apply directly. So personally, how it happened for me was that, a Microsoft Learner Student Ambassador. Actually, the previous name was Microsoft Student Partner, but it was rebranded into the Microsoft Learner Student Ambassador. Mm-hmm. So late last year, we had this inner meetup, and the objective of the meeting was tailored at preparing your CV, your resume for job offers, like applying into Microsoft. So immediately after the meeting, I already had my CV prepared, and it seemed like I just had to make a few tweaks to my CV. So I applied for two roles. Program manager intern and software intern in Nigeria. And fortunately enough, I was called for the program manager role. And for the program manager role, I had about, 5 series of interview, technical interview, behavioral interview, where you talk about your creativity and, and stuff like that. So after the interview, I was expecting to be called, but I was rejected that time earlier this year. So the recruiter, Catherine, she reached out to me and asked me if I wanted to be interviewed for the software engineering intern role. And I was happy, I was glad about that, and I said yes. So I didn't want to miss this opportunity again. So I just had to prep more between the interval of being asked if I want to, be interviewed for that role and the interview day. So I had to prep more. I went on LeetCode. I did actually take lots of algos, but I took some. Then I learned some basic algorithm concepts, data structures, hash maps, and the rest. Trees. I learned binary trees and other stuff. So I learned these basic concepts. And in the interview, I was asked basic ones too. So I think I was also lucky. So I scaled through and was called in. So that's how I landed. So the first step, for me was actually being a member, associating myself with the Microsoft Learner Student Ambassador. It's actually an awesome program. The program has actually helped me in lots of ways that I can't actually say all, but that's actually helped me.
Yeah. There's a lot that you touched on there. I think it's interesting that you pointed out that even though the first job you applied for at the same company didn't work out, the recruiter still kept in touch with you and actually reached out to you in the future. So that's something else for people to actually understand too. That it's not if a company doesn't work out at a specific time, or if a position at the company doesn't work out for the interviewer at a specific time, it doesn't mean that's it. Like it's fine. There are many more opportunities for them to still apply. You know?
Yeah.
And how many months were there between each of these interviews? Was it something maybe like the next day? Or was it like a 6-month cool down period? Some companies have like 6 months, have 1 year.
Okay, it was. I know I had my first interview within December, and the last one was around maybe the first 2 weeks of January. So let's just say a month. Like all the 5 interviews I had was like within a month constraints.
Yeah, that's awesome. And is it will this be Microsoft Nigeria? Is it Microsoft remotely? Do they have accommodations for those kinds of interviews?
Okay, yeah. The internship I'm currently doing is remote based, but is for the Microsoft Nigerian branch, not the one at Redmond.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah. So that's one of the other opportunities with landing these internships. There's the flexibility of being able to live anywhere and to basically work with those international companies. So for anybody watching this, don't let location or anything or immigration stuff. Feel free to still apply, even if you feel you don't check all some list of boxes, because in reality, right, if you don't apply, you've rejected yourself before the interviewers even get to read the resume.
Yeah, that is true.
Yeah. So you mentioned there was a student advocacy program, or was it something on campus? How exactly did being a member of a tech community within the university ecosystem prepare you for open opportunities and pave the way to get into Microsoft?
Yeah. So, basically, if you want to achieve something, it's more easier if you're within a group that have common interests with you. It's people trying to learn maybe a different concept, but like people still have the same goal. So that kind of motivates you to learn more, push yourself to become better. Although you can still do that alone, but it's easier when you have a support system. You have maybe friends or you're in a group and people are trying to achieve the same stuff. So being in the Microsoft Learner Student Ambassador program, the program is amazing. In the program, we get lots of benefits access to Azure. So that also helps. So that encourages us learn more about the cloud ecosystem. Right now, the cloud is the frenzy now in the tech community. So you learn a lot about the cloud technologies, learn about AI, and on Microsoft Learn, there are lots of resources. There are a lot to making people understand about Microsoft technologies, and also being a member of the Microsoft Learner Student Ambassador pushes me to organize events. So all these events, you reach out to people, you network, you meet new people that are interested in tech, maybe they don't know how. So it also improves your communication skill. It's maybe if you're a shy person, having this physical meetups or remote meetups, online virtual meetups makes you to talk more. So you get better in all this stuff.
Yeah, definitely. Your first point there, being a member of a community, definitely helps you to access more opportunities. And just like you mentioned, you get to hear more about things. Things are shared on maybe Slack channels or community chats, and that way you don't have to do all the work yourself. Right? You can actually spread out the efforts, especially when everybody is committed to the same goals. Is this community, is this just in your university, or is this spread across other universities across Nigeria? For those who are in your university.
Yeah, that is a great thing there. Now, the Microsoft Learner Student Ambassador community is global. Although you can try to tailor it down to schools, you can group it. We have our own personal group for our school, Futo. So other schools in Nigeria also have their own Microsoft. That's if they are actually partners to those schools. So it's a school-based something. But then it's a global community. So, you get to meet new people too from different parts of the world, get to learn about, their culture, their interests and stuff like that.
Yeah. Yeah, that's awesome. Is it something that anybody can join? Right? Like if someone goes to school in, let's say they go to school in Aba, or let's say they go to school in somewhere in maybe Katsina, are they able to just join this community? Where can people find this ecosystem?
Yeah, there's no constraint or there is no bias in joining. You just have to at least have the minimum requirements to your application, because they expect you to maybe have some tech experience or worked on some project for you to apply. So if you have these minimum requirements, irrespective of the school you're in, you probably get into the program.
Right, got it. Are there any other communities or maybe other jobs you had that sort of prepared you for this, or was this your first internship? Was there anything else you did that prepared you for this opportunity?
Okay, so prior to joining Microsoft, I interned at Major League Fellowship. Major League Hacking Fellowship, the MLH Fellowship.
Yeah.
And prior to the MLH Fellowship, I also interned at a crypto company called eCoin. So my first internship was actually at eCoin, then MLH, and currently at Microsoft.
Okay. And would you say that the experiences you had there, the hands-on any hands-on work you did, or any actual software engineering work you did that properly prepare you for the internship, or is it possible for people to who don't have as much of an employment history, who don't have that much work history, is there a way for them to also get in to these roles?
Okay, so to be honest, I can't actually say if having a history of internship would give you access into Microsoft, having an internship at Microsoft. But what I can say is that having a history of internships, they'll give you experience generally. And funny enough, the team that I'm working in to work in Microsoft is not a web development team or a mobile development team. Maybe they incorporate their technologies into these platforms, but the team I'm working in is the mixed reality team, and I'm kind of new to this space, so I'm also in the learning phase. So you can see that they didn't actually put me into a team that I've had prior experience working on a similar technology. So they just interview me based on my general software experience, like they don't understand how coding works, the structures and flows, stuff like that. So all I can say is that just develop yourself generally as a software developer, as a programmer, as a student in technology. Even if you're into embedded systems, like I have a friend too, he's an intern in Microsoft, and his specialty is on embedded systems. So just develop yourself generally as a software developer, and even if you get into it, become like, they'll probably give you learning resources for you to hop into the train.
Yeah, that's actually very interesting advice. When starting out, maybe don't specialize too early, because if you commit to something too early, you might actually miss out on some opportunity. And there's always this struggle of finding out how long you should spend on a specific path before pivoting onto something else. So one way to handle, or at least to almost solve that problem, just like you're saying, is to start out with being a generalist and preparing yourself all around. And of course, which means that you actually have to understand the fundamentals, because just as you mentioned much earlier on, you still had to go and study for the internship itself, or you had to study for the interview rather, for data structures, algorithms, many of these things that tend to scare many computer scientists. I myself, so I know how to all how scary they can be. So those are still important, right? And I think maybe if we get a bit into the interview process itself, right? You described how long it took, short term. Let's say at each stage of the interview, what were the expectations, right? How did you prepare based on that stage of the interview?
Okay. Actually, my friend helped me. She helped me with the book, The Code and Conquer. So I went through the interview prepping book. I think that's The Code and Conquer, if I'm not wrong. But I think that's the book I read, all this stuff. You also in the book, I think if that's Code and Conquer I'm talking about, they explained about all this behavioral stuff, how to attempt some certain questions, how to attack it. And what else? Yeah, basically I also like how to go through some of the projects I worked on, so that if I'm asked the question of, hey, what have you worked on, or what's your experience on this, I can actually immediately pinpoint on this. These are some of the things I did. Then what else did I do? Then my friend actually got in earlier before me. He also helped me to tell me some of the questions I would expect. Winner, that is his name, Winner Emeto. So shout out to Winner Emeto and Omar. And yeah, goodness also helped me through the system. Shout out to them. Who else helped me? Yeah, I think that is I remember.
Yeah. So it's definitely a community driven effort. Sometimes I myself think of the balance between a self-made individual versus a community-made individual, and which one is more sustainable in the long run. And just as you mentioned, now that you've been able to get in the door, right, you're also able to you're in a position to now assist other people as well who are on that journey, which is the theme of today's video. So if you like this video, please remember to like, subscribe, comment down below if you have any questions for Samson. Share with anyone on LinkedIn, Twitter, WhatsApp, any audience that you have. So now, Samson, going back to the interview itself, in terms of now the technical aspects, we spoke about the behavioral interviews. So the thing is, with the technical aspects, there tends to be different levels of difficulty. So would you say that all the problems you faced were on, maybe were they all hard, extremely hard questions, right from the first interview down to the final round? Or would you say it's increased the levels of difficulty, or it was just randomly spread?
Okay, for the coding one, I would categorize them on the intermediates. Maybe for someone else, it might actually be easy, but I'm like making this judgment based on my level. So I'll probably categorize them on the intermediate level. I'd say.
Okay. And intermediate, would that be equivalent to sort of like LeetCode medium, sort of, or would that be maybe closer to hacker rank? How do you measure what is intermediate? Like, is it based on content or something else?
When I say intermediate, it's based on. I'm putting two factors. I'm putting time. Because actually it might be an easy question, but then the time constraints,
Right.
So I'm putting time. I'm also putting level of thinking that goes into it in that small period of time. Mm-hmm. So that's what I'm using to make this judgment now.
Okay. So were you required to solve maybe 3 questions in 45 minutes? Companies like Facebook have that style. Or did you have one question for 30 minutes? How was it structured?
Okay, there wasn't a timer in mind.
Mm-hmm.
Like the same interviewer, he asked me some technical questions that wasn't coding based, so just about my technical knowledge. Then immediately after that, moved into a coding playground. And I can remember in the program manager one. The first session was easy. The second one, I kind of flopped. I flopped halfway, I think in the last question. Then the place where I aced it okay was when I actually I actually took my time to learn some code, a little bit of code for the software engineering thing. That is where I aced it. I didn't actually prepare for coding in the program manager, but I saw coding there. So
it's interesting that there's coding involved in a program management position, but all is well that ends well. You got the internship now, and do you have any advice, anything that you'd like to let other people know on this journey? What is something they should focus on? How they build their portfolio?
Okay, sure. For this coding stuff, first of all, the first advice I'll give someone in regards to my own journey is to find a mentor. So I can remember some years ago when I started out, I was a user of the Slow Learn platform. I don't know if you know about that. Slow Learn, it's a mobile coding platform. Okay, I think it's a little bit popular. It's quite popular. They have millions of users on the platform. So I was a newbie there, and sometimes when they post some algorithm questions, and when I look at it, it doesn't make sense to me. And then I see some people that will just get profile solutions to it, and that made me a little bit miserable, to be honest, because I was like, how did these people come to once you just learn about controls, if and else, loops, how did they bring all this stuff together to tackle this? That was actually something that I was always thinking about. It gave me a little bit of trouble. Mm-hmm. But then I met this man. There was a man, John Wells, on the platform. He usually helps people. Once you post an issue on your code, you explain, hey, this didn't work because of this. So I reached out to John Wells and told him that I actually need his help. So he sent me his Discord handle, and anytime I see a coding issue that I don't actually understand, I'll save my code on the platform, then I'll send him a link to my code, and he will. And I did this, and the complex. So when I look back, I'll be like, why did I not understand that? Yeah, I'm so dumb. But I think that's part of the journey. You always, as you grow, you look back and reflect, and you be like, why did I make this move? So that is just it. So the second step I would say is to find, maybe if you have friends that are interested in the same stuff, which I did, maybe you can create a little group, maybe on WhatsApp or any platform, and you guys can decide to tackle some code issues, maybe day after day, or maybe let's say this week you guys decide to tackle 3 coding issues, or I don't know the rates that you guys want to be solving, but I did this, and that also helped me. I had a group of friends that were interested, so we formed a WhatsApp group, and we are solving HackerRank issues. So this helped us improve our algorithm scale. What else? Then the next one I would say is to join a community, like a tech community. I'm not just only in Microsoft Linux community. I also join other groups on WhatsApp, like tech groups. I'm part of the Facebook tech community already. I joined that group. The DSC group. I'm also there. Join all these groups. Know the current trend. You get updates. You meet people. Stuff like that. That also helps. Then put in the work. It's not actually easy. It's not actually easy, to be honest. It's not actually easy.
Yeah, no, definitely, but it eventually pays off, and nothing worth it is ever easy, because if not, everybody would have it, and just like you said earlier, even if you're not able to find a community, at least create one, right? You mentioned the WhatsApp group with friends, that's actually very important too. Being able to get people that can at least hold you accountable when you're starting off, and can ensure you're on the right track, and you're keeping each other in check, sharing ideas. That's definitely something amazing. It's something I didn't do a long time ago, and looking back now, with what you said and with what other guests on the podcast have said, definitely makes sense to be involved in a group. That saves a whole lot of time and energy.
Yeah, definitely, definitely.
Yeah. Yeah. So outside of the coding, interviews and preparing for Microsoft, did you have any side projects? Was there anything else you worked on? Anything that helped you to improve your hands-on coding skills?
Okay, the last project I worked on, I learned about trees, linked trees and stuff like that. So the last project I worked on actually utilized trees. So it was a visual representation of trees for permutation. So I think that project helped me to understand more about how linked trees works, using references and stuff like that. So I can also show you that. I can share my screen and show you.
Yeah.
So I call it permutation visualizer. I was actually thinking about the way of, visualizing how maybe, let me say, a word can be permutated, maybe a number can be permutated. So let's say for instance, I have ABC. Now to see in how many ways can ABC be arranged, right? I'll just click on generate. And this is a tree. I made use of the tree library, the tree React library for this visualizing, for the visualizer here. And the algorithm behind this is the permutation algorithm together with the tree linked trees algorithm. So that is basically it.
Yeah, and for this, this definitely assisted with the understanding of data structures as well, and the algorithm that goes behind this. Um, would you say that something like this was helpful on your resume? Did you include side projects in your resume when applying to Microsoft?
Yeah, definitely. So yeah, definitely. I worked on a couple number of projects that I put down on my resume. I worked on a project that helps generate the manifest.json file for PWA. So instead of manually writing the properties and defining properties for your manifest.json file, you make it of the web app and fill the form, and it's automatically generated for you. Then I went further to try out two servers, a normal server, a normal Express server, and a GraphQL server, but they both achieve the same stuff. So back then I just doubled down on GraphQL. I was so fascinated about the GraphQL ecosystem and how it works. So I did a lot of GraphQL based stuff back then. That should be last year. So all this stuff, they were on my resume. What else? What other projects I work on? Okay, I worked on a project that helps delete multiple repositories from GitHub using Ionic. I use Ionic React. And there are also some other projects too. I also made a Visual Studio extension for Prisma. Although I'm not following the updates on Prisma, so actually archived the extension and also an npm for generating GitHub repositories from your terminal. But GitHub, they have their CLI tool now, so it's kind of useless.
Yeah, there's the new GitHub CLI plus the desktop, but you never know. The thing is, just because there's something out there already, it doesn't mean you shouldn't actually go ahead to build your own thing. That's
I learned a lot from the process.
Yeah. I think today we've learned a lot. To recap, it's very important to have a community behind you. Or if there's anything people will take away from this, that having a community is probably one of the fastest ways to gain leverage, rather than doing everything on one's own. And then, of course, you'll be putting in the work, and then just putting your work out there as well. And as you work, also try to share it with others to get feedback, so that they can send it around for you as well. Will there be any place that people can contact you, maybe LinkedIn, GitHub, Twitter, to follow up with you, or even just any projects or work that you do?
Yeah. They can follow me on Twitter using the handle SparkBloom, and on LinkedIn, my name is Samson Amaugo. They can follow me there, and I also have a YouTube channel, SparkBlooms on YouTube. Yeah, although I actually want to post. I would have posted something this week, but lots of projects at hand. So the name of my channel on YouTube is SparkBlooms 2. So SparkBlooms on Twitter, SparkBlooms on YouTube, Samson Amaugo on LinkedIn. Yeah.
Yeah. Perfect.
Okay, on Instagram too, SparkBlooms. So that's it.
Yeah, perfect. All right, thank you very much, Samson. It was really nice speaking to you today and hearing from your experience. I hope everyone who's heard as well, will be able to apply what they've learned. So thank you very much, and have a nice day. See you.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Bye.
Bye.